And now, for the very last one, everybody's favorite, departmental allocation. And this is where we take everything from the cost centers and put them into the revenue centers. And in this case, advertising and admin are going to be your cost centers, and we're going to put all of their costs into shoes and clothing. And to do that, we had steps. So step 1 is to allocate the utilities in this case. And those are allocated by, if you read at the bottom, floor space. So let's go find this information. So floor space is right here. So we're going to do this, guys. We're going to put that over there and figure out how much floor space we have. In this case, we've got 14,000. So now I'm going to find what percentage that is. So I put the floor space for each department down. I put the total floor space down. And I multiply to get the percent. Then I find out how much the utilities cost, which was $124,000. And that is placed right here. Now I multiply each of these out to find out how much to allocate to each department. Because first of all, you've got to have your overhead allocated to all departments and then take that amount and allocate the cost centers to the revenue centers. So by multiplying each one of these by the correct percentage, these are the numbers I come up with. It should come up to 124 that needs to be allocated to the departments. So also we need to assign the direct expenses. So what you end up doing here, I'm just going to move this whole thing like that. So first of all, here's our direct expenses, 25, 32, 100,000, and clothing 50,000. Those are direct, okay, that we can directly take to those departments. Those become allocated here. We then take these numbers and put them in the appropriate departments. Okay, once we get that done, we now have expenses allocated to each department. These are direct or expenses that we've assigned. Now we want to take these expenses and fold them into shoes and clothing because they are revenue centers. These two do not make money, but they do support departments that make money. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, we're going to do the advertising. And if I come down to the bottom, I find advertising is done by the number of ads, advertising they've got. And you'll find that number right here. They do a total of 200. There are 80 in shoes and 120 assigned to clothing. So what I do is I always get my numbers so I can look at them. So 80 and 120 makes 200. And again, I do the same thing I did above. I find the percentage that I'm going to allocate by. I put in the amount. How much am I going to be using? 34,920. I multiply those times that 40 and that 60 in both areas. And I come up with 13,968 here and 20,952 here, which adds up to 3490. Good thing, right? Okay, so next I'm going to do the admin. And how do I allocate admin? Go down and look. It's based on sales per department. Okay. So sales are 400,000 overall. So that's right here again. We're going to be doing that same thing again. 250. Let's go to there. So I have 250 for shoes, 150 for clothing. It's 400,000. I divide that and come up with the percentage. Makes sense so far? multiply it times this 44,400. And these two numbers, right here and here, are how we're going to allocate that to the shoes and clothing. And it looks like this in the worksheet. I take it out of these departments, so this is 0. And I take these numbers, how we've allocated them with the percentages, and place them in shoes and 2952 in clothing. Do the same thing with the 44,400. See this 27,750 and this 16,650. I add these up now, and these are the total costs that are going to be assigned to shoes and clothing to determine how profitable each department is. Does that help a little bit? Okay, that wraps it up.